Now I get to read a script, don't I? And we'll ask Addison for the roll.
Hilbert. Here. Albrand.
Here.
Bodie.
Here.
Carberry Montgomery.
Here.
Obrecht.
Here.
Nicholas.
Here.
Butler.
Here.
Leinhardt.
Yes, here.
Alrighty, and we are city staff-wise missing AJ and get Nikki up here instead, so.
Pinch hitter.
Yep. Character count statement. Urbandale is a national leader in character counts, endeavoring at all times to promote and model the principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. In conducting tonight's meeting, we expect all participants to act in a respectful manner consistent with these principles. And we get to approve the minutes from the November 27th meeting. Is there a motion and a second? Motion by Hollebrands.
Lindhart, second.
Hard second. And roll call.
Roll call.
That's what you put down.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I just did that. Hilbert.
Yes.
Albrand.
Here.
Bodie.
Yes.
Carberry Montgomery.
Yes.
Obrecht.
Yes.
Nicholas.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Leinhardt.
Yes.
All right, so tonight we have the public hearing on the capital improvements plan of 2024 to 2029. Notice was published in the December 8th, 2023 Des Moines Register. Were there any objections to the notice as published?
No objections.
Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So move.
Motion by Brody,
Second.
second by Carberry Montgomery. Roll call.
Yes.
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 You'll put in voice vote next time, I'm sure.
Voice call, A's and A's.
All righty. So tonight we'll go through the sections of the capital improvements plan during the public hearing part. Large public crowd tonight. But we'll go through the sections and we can ask points at that, or if there's general comments about all of it as a whole, I would say save that for the end. Once we close the public hearing, us as a committee can continue to have discussion about it as well. In the final spot, we will have a vote on the plan as a whole, up or down. So kind of walk through the process that way. So as we go through, some sections will go through pretty fast, others a little slower. But we'll start with the art piece, shifting to a static $25,000 a year program. Any questions or comments in it? Buildings, making City Hall better, building fire stations, public works storage, and police station work.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make some comments about the proposed police station, if this is in order at this time.
That is, yes.
Okay,
So page 7 is what we're talking about.
yeah. Anyhow, I'm referencing the handout of plans we got last time. And first of all, like I said before, compared to last year, we've got a lot more definition on this than we had before. Now, first of all, I've got a problem with the square footage as shown on page 19 of that handout. I just can't seem, I may be just mentally dense or something, but I can't quite make the square footages shown there add up. So I would just suggest that maybe there should be a double check. If you add the square footage for the firing range and the garage and the stated square footage for the main building, I come up with 67,726 square feet, which is about 7,000 short of the overall project total, 74,000 something. So anyway, need a little tune-up on that, I believe, or else I'm just mentally dense, who knows. Next thing I would say, I would like to see okay, let me put it this way. There's three main elements to this police station. We've got the main building, we've got the garage facility, and we've got the firing range. And I'd like to see the proposed costs per square foot for each of those run out, so many $100 per square foot times so many square feet, and then total that up so we get a better handle on how the overall cost of this project was generated. And I would again, got a question how the police chief is going to run the police department if we're going to completely tear this existing facility down. It's going to be a 2-year spell someplace else. Seems to me it's going to be terribly, terribly difficult to operate a police force. But it's, I guess, as far as this body is concerned, we're not concerned about operations, but I still got to wonder about that. And I really, really think we need to re-argue the possibility of expanding the existing facility so we can continue with normal operations. That'd be one concern here. And a couple other things here. First of all, I note, again, on page 19 of the handout, the firing range, we got ourselves down for 12 lanes. Now, that seemed like an awful big firing range, and it seemed like quite an elaborate deal. It seems to me that 6 would be a good number, but anyway, minor deal. If you cut the 10,000 square foot for the firing range to 5,000, it's only 5,000 square foot in overall, overall terms of the project. Doesn't mean anything one way or the other anyway, but just bothers me a little bit. And I would strongly urge back here in the options for the various buildings, we got some that are where the garage facility is noted as a pull-through, and I would certainly recommend we do that. For heaven's sakes, you get dead cars, wrecked cars, and all kinds of things in there that you need to examine and get out of there. So anyway, just some thoughts on that. But I would like to see some further refinement on the square footage and the cost. I guess that's the end of my comments on that. Thank you.
Okay. Note some of those items for the minutes. Any other discussion in the section on buildings?
Just a comment on that, John. Am I seeing this correct, Adam? That's in 2027 for the design?
Yes.
So there is still some time kind of to get to those questions.
Yeah.
And, maybe that's something we can discuss more in depth next year when we get kind of closer to that.
Yep.
I did have one question on page 6 here for the Parks and Public Works Storage Building.
Okay.
For the dollar value that we're carrying in 2025, I can't speak to the size of those buildings off the top of my head, but that sounds like a large number. Have we gotten more than one bid on that to kind of hold for that?
That's not a bid, that is our staff estimate. Okay. It's not a bid, it's a staff estimate. So again, we will take actual bids when the time comes.
And about how much square feet of roofs are we looking at?
I don't think I could tell you that off the top of my head here.
I'd heard from the last meeting, it was the roofing of 2 buildings and siding 1 building. I don't know if that's correct. Okay.
That is correct, though. There's 2 roofs and siding on 1 building.
Hope for lower prices by then.
Yeah, I know with those 2 materials, they've gone up 30, 40%. I mean, just.
Other items in buildings? All right, we'll move on then to major equipment. Fire truck, fire truck, fire truck, fire truck, fire truck.
Anything else you want?
You already have the big fan, so covered there. All righty, and obviously a lot of lead time on fire trucks right now, so it is good to plan that out.
I just read the minutes very quickly, and I apologize, but weren't we gonna look at possibly moving something forward? One of those trucks, or no, we are not I don't, does anyone remember?
Yeah, and there was some reference in the minutes to our discussion, but,
We went in circles, I think, on,
Yeah.
was it advantageous to do so or not?
right.
I don't think we could. I think that was the
You
supply
can,
and demand.
yeah, the question was, can we move that purchase date up for the ladder truck that we're going to be moving to, but there's no way to. Actually, I spoke with Ankeny just last week, and they're now out at 4 years for ordering a ladder truck. So,
Well, just keep that in mind, I guess, for next year, so,
So you
there's
need to
something
order
you
the
need.
2027 ladder truck now, in other words.
well, I believe actually the way we have it laid out is the order will take place in the next coming budget cycle, fiscal year, and then delivery will be 3 years after that, if we're able to get a 3-year delivery time.
And I think I asked a question, even could we order now and then push the delivery out? And you said there were clauses in place that prevented you from doing that. So essentially, financially.
No, until you actually allocate the money, we really can't do anything. And at that point, you'd only be talking about a couple of months anyways.
So moving half of the value to 2025 and half to 27, you can do that through resolution.
Correct. So to clarify that, the price that's reflected is assuming we're ordering it in '24. So this is the locked-in price. We will not take possession of it until '27, maybe '28, apparently. The funding year that's shown in any of these documents, this is reflecting when I'm going to sell the bonds and when the money will come in. Anything that has affected timing, including this, will make half of the payment at the time we order it. So we do that through that reimbursement resolution process. And this is just when I will finally reimburse myself for it. So this is where it fit in from a final delivery status. But yes, this is effectively reflecting ordering effectively ASAP, as fast as government works. This is, as soon as this document is approved, I would anticipate we would go ahead and put it together for that order, knowing now we're potentially 4 years out.
Correct.
So yes, this is literally as fast as it's, even though the funding doesn't come till then, we will be paying for half of it immediately.
I knew we went around and there was confusion, so I just want to clarify that. And I'm sure I'll ask again in a couple weeks when we have another
Comes
public
to
hearing.
council, we'll also have, it'll come through at that time with the reimbursement resolution, identifying it to be covered by this bond.
Okay. Any other equipment items? Technology. Thank you, Chief. Completing the fiber loop. All righty, anything there? All right, larger section now, finally, parks. Excuse, since I wasn't here last time, and I think this lands in parks. Last year, somebody asked about getting across 86th Street on trails. Did you have a little bit of that discussion last time?
Yeah, I think it's coming further in this document.
Okay. And then the other was utility installation at various parks. Was that including fiber at ones that it made sense? Or is that totally separate? Okay. Since I wasn't here last time to ask the questions, making sure. Other questions on parks? You guys are making this easy. Bridges. $2028 and an out-year bridge. Any questions on those? Sidewalks, continuing our ADA program, and is this where trails are at? For the,
It's in streets.
okay. So sidewalks and building ourselves the second greatest pedestrian bridge in the state of Iowa, so. Yes, I'm an Iowa State fan.
Oh, I did have I think I had a question on that.
Okay.
I think it was from the latest, page 44, I'll reference on that pedestrian bridge. And I thought I'd heard something in lieu during the P and Z meetings of one of the parcels that kind of shows the approximate location of where that was getting sketched, being planned out now. And I just wanted to make sure that this was thought of in conjunction with that. One,
Purely graphical, no determination been made of what
yep, understood. Right, that parcel, once you subtract the on-off ramps from those two interchanges, takes up about half the area between those. So I just kind of wanted to note that and just make sure if that was, part of the thought in mind, unless it was on that other half, wherever that may be. And that just kind of goes into what I was asking about before with the master planning of that area, that it was thought of in, conjunction with some of that stuff that had gone on or has been approved.
Correct. That'll be part of the study is to figure out where it should go and where our other crossings going to be. And they'll be aware of the stuff that's been done with the medical development as well.
But some of the pre-planning and the medical development is conceiving that this is part of that.
They're well aware that what they're showing is graphical and it may not be anywhere near where they're showing it, that we'll look at a location. Because again, it really, right now, once you get to, if it went right there and you got on the south side, the way the development's happening on the south side, there's no place to put a trail. You're walking through parking lots. So that's why I'm not sure that is the ideal location, but we'll have a study to kind of find that out.
It's just something that had come up since our last meeting here, so I just wanted to ask about it.
Other items in sidewalks? Storm water.
And stream restoration.
Yes. So building big pipes, stream restoration. Any questions in this section?
I'll just advocate again for increased spending over what we're talking about for storm sewers. I about exhausted that topic last time, so I won't say very much this time.
Well, I think Edison whoever did it, but I think it was you, Edison, did a wonderful job capturing our resolution in the meeting minutes that we passed unanimously. So cool. So we're good.
Good job. All righty, then we're into streets. I do know there's a couple questions in this area, so. Adding median art, a lot of street preservations and so forth, but the one I guess I wanted to talk about was page 56. So Aurora Avenue bike lanes is something that came in front of the council, was loudly communicated to the council that the plan that was suggested wasn't going to work. Is this, I guess maybe back to John, is this about trying to do the same plan, or are we going to talk a better plan for Aurora with this?
As of right now, it's the same plan in there. I think staff would be looking for direction from council. If it's scrap it, do something different, I guess we would need that direction. Otherwise, I think as staff, we still believe that is the best solution, so.
Okay.
I guess without Curtis or AJ here, I'll look to you or anybody here. I think we need to revisit that sometime in the near future and figure out how we feel about it with some new council members and.
Well, I've been supportive of the project as it was originally conceived, but I think one of the lessons we learned is that needs to get in front of the public in a very meaningful way, and we need their input before finalizing. So that's why I was kind of comfortable with this. It looks like it's kind of getting pushed out a little bit, so it gives us time to do that.
And I guess from my standpoint, I mean, having bike lanes on Aurora doesn't bother me. Going down to 2 lanes bothers me of traffic, and so it's that pending winter days, if 32 feet of that road is bike lane and 24 feet is cars, I know what's going to happen. cars are going to drive in the bike lanes. And so that was my problem. It was a design problem, not a we want bike lane problem. So I guess this coming back as the same design, I think is a problem, what it gets down to for me. So I don't know how we communicate that of how do we get more priority on the traffic that is there. 3 lanes of traffic makes sense, but 2 lanes of traffic don't make sense on that road for me with the amount of cars a day that go through there.
Well, there's probably an education piece we need to do around that, because there's really some pretty good research on these things about the traffic calming benefits. But this is the kind of input that needs to be happening so that we can kind of look at it and give it another look and make sure. Yeah.
So bringing up the exact same plan, I think, is a problem if that's what this is.
I do have a question on that. My thoughts, my personal thoughts aside, I actually have less concern for Aurora than I do the link that's leading up to it, which I believe is coming up, is it 70th or 72nd there?
70th.
That seems even more dangerous to me than what the Aurora does. And so if we were to talk about that link in particular, not taking into account Aurora is one contingent on the other, because you're talking about bringing that bike lane up Urbandale, up 70th or 72nd, then connecting through the other bike lane on Aurora. So I just didn't know if one was kind of contingent on the other or not.
Yeah, I can't answer that.
No, I mean, they've always been separate projects outlined in our complete streets plan. We just thought it made sense, since they connected, to do them at the same time.
And there is another factor here. I think it's quite likely that the city of Des Moines may be coming in from the east with change in Aurora that might have some impact on this particular project, even though it just goes to 70th Street.
And that was the council direction too, is to just go that far, because we did look, if you truly tried to add on-street the rest of the way to Merle Hay, there's some definite challenges and some serious expense with that. So that's why it was decided, hey, it'd be nice to start with 86th to 70th first, and then worry about going to the next piece once we got that first piece built.
And I just know that this issue last year was the one issue that, as a part of this group, that I heard from friends and family and others that were like, what? What are they doing? And I think it goes, whether you're for bike lanes or not, whether you want 2 or 3 lanes or whatever, I think it goes to your point, Pat, that there's got to be more education and there's got to be more community input. And I think if you do put bike lanes in, I love to bike, but when you're in a car, you tend to forget about bikes. And when you're on a bike, you yell at the cars. And sometimes when you're on your bike, you're not following the rules of the road like you're supposed to. And there's just a lot of different dynamics. And so whose education's responsibility is it when it comes down to putting bike lanes in? Are we going to then let the community know what to use? I mean, those of you who love biking are probably sitting there going, you don't even know what you're talking about. You know what? You're right. I don't. Because I think it's important that we have, if this does move through even as is, I think it has to be accompanied by some very specific education to the public on, one, why we're doing it. Because I don't know if there's what the why necessarily is. And I just want to, if it is what the why is, and then what is the ramifications, the school there is an issue for a lot of people. They bring that up, and the traffic that already gets backed up there. And so there's just a lot of questions that surround it. And Adam, I think you're right, bringing the exact same thing back that last time got sort of that visceral reaction from people without education or input is probably a mistake. And so I would think that even if that plan is the best plan, and certainly the city, I put my faith in staff, they do this professionally. I'm just a member of this group that tries to help. It has to be vetted and presented in a way that it does get to be acceptable to the community and to the city council. And so, I don't know. This is just the one issue in the streets plan that I think is that lightning rod that has, if it's going to happen, it has to get it right.
You know, that might be a point to make sure we have in the meeting minutes, that we're encouraging strong public engagement and ultimately education as needed for this particular project. But I would submit that almost any of the complete streets projects that come forward will need that kind of TLC. Not all of them, but a lot of them are going to be right in people's backyards or front yards or nearby, and they're going to have real interest when they see them imminent. And so we need to be proactive about that, I think.
Yeah, and just to elaborate for a moment, it wasn't the fact on the 70th that was the fact that it wasn't the fact that it was a bike lane or that education would be needed. It sounded, and just testing my memory here a bit from when I heard it during watching the last meetings, was there were several sets of standards along that street, several different rules, because it had to conform and shift in a couple of different ways. So that's what kind of flagged it a bit for me.
Because the design on 70th was, some of it's sharing the lane, some of it's its own separate lane.
And I think it kind of has to be that way, because we've looked, you cannot widen the southern stretch out, so you're going to have to share the lanes, or, you just don't have the marks, and that gets people, it's a free-for-all out there. It's like we're encouraging the bike usage. The sharrows are what we need to do through there.
And that was kind of some of my concern of the Aurora one from 86 to 70th is you go from, you never end up sharing, but you go from a 3-lane road to a 2-lane road, back to a 3-lane road, back to a 2-lane road, and it's 42 feet curb to curb, if I remember right. So it's not like it's that wide anyway to begin with. So I highly encourage that more design and public input discussion happen with these before they get moved forward, so.
And I think the why. I mean, that's, like, why do we want to do this in this space? I mean, we can talk about designing it, we can talk about the best possible plan that it is, but the why, I think, matters. So that would just be my thing. And I'm not suggesting that this is not a valid project or that it shouldn't be done. Be clear on that. I just think understanding the why and will help bring the people who would be, having a lot of questions, might help them resolve them before it gets to a point where suddenly we got big issues.
Right.
Okay. Other parts of the streets discussions?
Just a global question, and John, you can probably answer this. I didn't ask it last time, but there are obviously a lot of different street improvements in here along kind of the 3 main corridor streets that run east-west. And I'm assuming staff's looked at everything, and there's a logic behind kind of where we're jumping piece to piece along each one of these and doing the trails and the streets themselves.
So I'm sorry, I'm not quite following the question.
Yeah, it's a broad question. Just you'd look in calendar 25, and maybe we're doing a piece on Meredith, a piece on Hickman, and a piece on Douglas or something. And then you shift to the next year, you're doing a piece on each somewhere. Just want to make sure that there's a process, because you're also doing trails as you go along those, along with the street improvements and everything else.
Again, for instance, where you're talking, so along 100th, 104th Sutton Drive, we did the trail north-south here, we just completed. And then based on when we got the federal funding, places 86th Street back to 100th. And then we're kind of started looking at the maintenance and wanted to do the piece from 100th over Northwest Urbandale Drive, which then we can do a trail section that connects the 2 pieces. So that's the logic on that. Otherwise, we're really just trying to fill in gaps is what we're shooting for, and tying it into other projects when possible.
Other questions on streets, comments? Street lighting. Big section. Noticed we had a few out, driving out to AJ's the other day, so hopefully Mid-American gets to replacing those.
Just for everybody's information on that, so typically it's in the March timeframe. We drive the entire city. We know what everything is out, and then inform Mid-American on what needs fixed. So once a year, we look at that.
Some LED bulbs aren't lasting their lifetime right now, so. All righty.
Party or strobe.
Yes. street, or traffic signals. Adaptive. And if at a time in the future, you say you identify at an intersection that needs one, then it'll get obviously added to the book. And from the cost of them, they probably wouldn't have to be added too far out if one is identified. Okay. It's traffic signals, and we don't get to talk about water, so that's what the water board's for.
They kicked me off.
Yep.
But we voted for regional water first, so there you go.
Alrighty. Any other public comments on the documents before we close the public session and have committee discussion?
I don't see any public, Adam.
Gotta ask, though.
I move to close the public hearing.
Carberry Montgomery,
Second?
second by Hollerands. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Okay, got it. Any additional amendments from the committee? Is this a first? No amendments, no extra pages, no? Okay.
I just want to thank staff for all of the amazing work that you guys have done to put this together. It is, never ceases to amaze me, and then quickly followed by the operating budget. So this is fantastic, and I look forward to going over it again next month on the council. But this is, I honestly think this process with our CIP committee is pretty revolutionary, I think, in the metro, and having citizen input. So I really appreciate all of your involvement, and just thanks to our committee and staff for a great work.
All righty. So is that a motion to approve the document?
It is. I will move to approve the capital improvements program 2024 to 2029.
All right,
Second that.
second by, motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by Hilbert, right? All those, or we'll do a roll call on this one.
Roll call. Hilbert,
Yes.
Hollerands,
Yes.
Bodie,
Yes.
Carberry Montgomery,
Yes.
Obrecht,
Yes.
Nicholas,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Leinhardt.
Yes.
All righty, so this will now move on to the city council. Their public hearing on it is January 16th. If you want to come back and express your opinions as part of the public for that. So, but it's my last official city council item too, so.
Thank you, Adam, for all of your work on the council, and prior to that, you've served on this committee, and, you know, maybe after a short reprieve, you know, we could get you back. I don't know. I'm sure it wouldn't take too much of a twist, but.
I think this is program number 10. That sounds like a good round number for me, so. All right, if there's nothing else for the committee, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your assistance on this, and I only had a half hour. Bridget had the 4-hour meeting, so.
Yeah, 34 minutes.
I know. You asked if it was 30. I didn't
I
think.
said 30.
Should it? Yeah.
There you go.